We should honestly put out, I was thinking about doing it last week and I just didn't get around to it, but we should put out like a real response, like Helio's position on coconut oil. USA Today, coconut oil isn't healthy, it never has been. They basically talk about how it's high in saturated fat, but they don't ground their claims in anything, which I just explained to you why they're wrong on. There's different types of saturated fat, and then they talk about how MCTs, which are medium chain triglycerides, which are like kind of a derivative of coconut fat, of saturated fat, actually have been proven to cause weight loss. And then they talk about how it's actually the void of a lack of fat that causes the heart disease, which is sugar, white flour, and empty calories. So they basically explain our whole thing for us, except they titled the article, "Coconut oil isn't healthy, it never has been." It's like so confusing. So our response to the USA Today is, it feels like a personal attack on our coconut derivative business. So today I want to talk about two things specifically. One, the types of saturated fat, because not all saturated fats are created equal, and two, the types of cholesterol and what actually goes on behind the scenes in cholesterol, and why cholesterol and heart disease is oftentimes correlation and not causation. The types of saturated fats. So there's 6 main ones, and they're labeled by their carbon atoms. C4, 4 carbon atoms, is called butyric acid, and that's the type of saturated fat in butter. Lauric acid, which is C12, which is what you find in coconut milk and breast milk, can't possibly be bad for you, can it? But it's a saturated fat, which is fine, but it's the type of milk that we grow from an embryo, or rather from a baby, into a kid with. So it's really like they're going to pick a fight against breast milk because it's the same type of saturated fat. It's the same nutrient compound. And then there's myristic, which is in cow's milk, which is C14, palmistic, which is in palm oil and meat, which is C16. Let's talk about MCTs, designer oils. People believe in MCTs because a medium chain triglyceride actually gets burnt like a carbohydrate in some specific ways. And it's basically, the punchline on MCTs is that it either gets burned or excreted. So you poop it or you burn it. And that's why MCTs have become increasingly popular in morning smoothies, in bulletproof coffee, and things like that. So the MCTs are an extraction out of coconut oil. So those would be like C8 and C10, capric acid, and I forget what C10 is off the top of my head, but C8 namely is like bulletproof brain octane. C8 oil, everybody knows, goes straight to the brain. And the rest of coconut oil is C12, which is breast milk. So I just find it really interesting that everyone is super high on MCTs, and this article from the USA Today, which is talking bad on C12, which in fact it's the same exact type of fatty acid as breast milk. Switching gears, let's talk about cholesterol. This is getting pretty long, isn't it? Yeah. Cool. We'll take a break. So the argument is LDL and HDL, which are cholesterol markers. So it's like, if coconut oil raises your LDL, is that a bad thing? LDL and HDL being raised are not bad things. Exclusively. Yeah. Bad things happen when there's inflammation, and LDL particularly. So that just happened. I was happy to explain to Julie what I was going to explain to you. The one thing that I wasn't able to talk about, which I've been talking about recently, and it's been a question recently, especially with fat and saturated fat. My friend Matthew Marcus and I were talking about plaque buildup. Okay, so it's like there's cholesterol, and then there's heart disease, and like, is there correlation? Yes. Is high cholesterol causation? And I have some information to tell you no. Anything that rapidly raises blood sugar is bad for cardiovascular health. People that are over 60 years, and these are just some statistics, people that are over 60 right now, there's a 50-50 chance that they're on a cholesterol controlling medicine, a statin of some sort. And why this is ridiculous is in 1966, William Harlan ran the largest cholesterol study ever recorded. It was a 20-year study. They followed people from age 50 to 70, age 60 to 80. Starting at 50, they followed people for 20 years, and they actually realized that people with higher cholesterol had a 31% lower death rate. And we can maybe link in the link or somewhere, we can put a link to Dr. David Diamond's presentation on this and maybe pick it up right where he starts talking about this. But William Harlan proved that it's not the cholesterol that is the causation of heart disease. and heart disorder. What causes heart disorder is the activation of the platelets. It's the sticking factor, which comes from fibrinogen and factor VIII, which make platelets stick together, and those platelets are what we call a clotting factor, and those clotting factors stem from 4 major causes. 1, smoking; 2, sugar; 3, stress; 4, obesity. So, does fat and high fat increase cholesterol levels? Yes. Is that bad? No. In the absence of sticking platelets. HDL, which everyone knows is good cholesterol, HDL is only increased in a high-fat diet. So it's actually really interesting. If you want good cholesterol, you have to eat high fat and you have to eat low carb. And anyway, it's getting a little noisy, so let's just wrap up. But I think it's really important, in recap, to talk about the fact that there's different types of saturated fats, to talk about the fact that cholesterol in and of itself is not bad. It's the sticking factor, it's the sticking platelets that are bad, and that Ansel Keys, what I was talking about, Julie, which was 1953, basically this whole idea of the Mediterranean diet is that starving Italians are skinny, and it's just not true. And that's still, to this day in 2017, what the American Heart Association recommends off of his recommendations. So yeah, anyway, let's just end the coconut oil rebuttal. I strongly encourage you to put some coconut oil in your hair and on your skin. SPF. Coconut oil has SPF. It's like SPF 4. There's a million benefits for coconut oil. Oil pulling, you can pull toxins out of your gums and teeth. It'll whiten your teeth. It's great for hair. It's great for skin. It's great in coffee. It's the same freaking fatty acid as breast milk. The fact that USA Today is talking shiz on coconut oil, we took as a personal insult, and I hope this video settles that. So thank you. Coconut fat is where we get all our fat from. And I use coconut oil on my hair, on my skin, in my product. It's coconuts are the only plant and the only thing on planet Earth that is a nut, a fruit, and a seed. And it's just extremely diverse, and it felt like a personal attack when they said coconut oil is bad. So we're creating a response.
Thinking I'm going to be a coconut expert.
So far from it. So far from it.